you do it?
Big balls.
Forget it.
Can't they print that?
Microsoft just bought Bethesda for $7.5 billion. Oh my god, that is a lot of money. Last week was Sony's PS5 showcase, where we got the price of the PS5 and the information about some exclusives and some other things. Bottom line, the general consensus was Sony has been cheeky by keeping things like Final Fantasy 16 and some other things secret till the last. And it seems like Xbox wasn't prepared for that. Comparing the launch lineup of Sony to Xbox, the Xbox seemed like a wasteland, pun intended. It looked like Sony had this in the bag, but Xbox had a trick up their sleeve. And wow, that was one hell of a trick. But before we get started, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button. Microsoft were in a rock and a hard place. Halo Infinite was delayed and Sony had a stellar lineup of launch titles that Microsoft couldn't match and still can't match, but this may just turn it around. Now I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty of the news and who said what. What I want to do is discuss the implications of this deal and how it affects gaming as a whole. Microsoft now owns all of Bethesda's subsidiary studios, and that also means that they have Dishonored, Prey, Evil Within, Starfield, Wolfenstein, Doom, Quake, and the big daddy of them all, Elder Scrolls V.
Give me everything. Call an ambulance! Call an ambulance! But not for me!
For now, in the short term, the fallout of this may not affect Sony that much, but in the long term, it could be especially beneficial for Xbox and maybe Doom for Sony. Now, the reason I say that is because this deal helps Xbox with the biggest problem that they have had against Sony, their exclusives. Obviously, Bethesda's previous games are still going to be there on the other platforms, but we don't know anything about the new games that Bethesda will come up with. And I would be pretty shocked if the next Fallout, the next Evil Within, the next Wolfenstein comes out on the PS5. Phil Spencer said that games like Deathloop and Ghostwire Tokyo, which have been confirmed for the PS5 as PS5 exclusives, will still be honored. But then he also went on to say that future Bethesda titles would release on Xbox, PC and other consoles on a case-by-case basis. Now what I think this means is that games like Starfield, the next Doom, maybe the Fallout games could be Xbox exclusives or timed exclusives. And with Xbox owning Obsidian also, Outer Worlds and Avowed, which is also a new IP which is coming out, Xbox is now the home for Western RPGs. And that would really help to get the consoles flying off the shelves and build up a competitive lineup of exclusives. But the debate is about Elder Scrolls 6. We haven't seen much of Elder Scrolls 6 right now, but seeing as how big Elder Scrolls 5 is, it could be a wild card for Xbox. The problem for Xbox is that they just don't have an install base as big as the PlayStation. If they release Elder Scrolls 6 only on Xbox, it could be a big opportunity cost that they will be leaving on the table. Nowadays, games are more and more expensive, and making an Elder Scrolls game, well, that has to be expensive. If they just release it on the Xbox, then the game sales may not justify the price of developing that game. So at least for Elder Scrolls 6, I think it is going to be cross-platform. It may be a timed exclusive too. There are arguments on both sides, but to be honest, it is actually a win-win here for Microsoft. If they do make Elder Scrolls 6 an exclusive, they can really get a lot of people buying the Xbox. But if they don't and release it on the PS5 and Switch and the Xbox, they can still reap the rewards being a publisher of the game. And yeah, the former would really be beneficial, more beneficial for them, but it may hurt them on the Bethesda side of things because not as many people will be able to get their hands on the Elder Scrolls and the DLC and the expansions that come with. But hey, the grass is always greener on the other side. We'll have to see whatever approach Xbox takes. They have been famously quoted with saying that they want to make gaming accessible to all and don't want to restrict to one console, but they have to get the evil within them and make this an Xbox exclusive. I think making this an Xbox exclusive could be a pain in the ass for Sony, but only time will tell whether this costly $7.5 billion acquisition was even worth it. The other thing that I want to talk about is Game Pass. This acquisition makes Game Pass an exceptionally great deal For just $10 a month and $120 a year, you get 100 plus games on Xbox and day one exclusives from studios like Bethesda now also. I mean, that has to be attractive even to the most loyal of Sony fanboys. And I think this is a big statement of intent from Microsoft, that they have realized that the exclusives are so important. With Sony being so aggressive on the exclusive agenda, Microsoft really need to catch up, and the acquisition of Bethesda is helping them doing just that. The Game Pass is now an exceptional deal. I have seen a lot of people dishonoring it by the lack of AAA games as part of the service, but that has to be buried now. Regardless of whether or not Microsoft chooses to keep future Bethesda games off the PlayStation 5, the fact of the matter is that the mega franchises that Bethesda owns, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Starfield, Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake, whatever, that exclusives Xbox already has. If it wasn't already, the Game Pass is now a must have subscription. And if you have the money, you need to spend it on the Game Pass. $120 a year for 100 plus games. If you compare it with the Sony side, there is nothing comparable to the Game Pass. The PlayStation Plus just doesn't add up to the Game Pass. And if I'm being honest, the PlayStation Plus is a bit more expensive. Now these acquisitions will not stop, with Sony having so many studios under their belt and Xbox still lacking even after this acquisition a little bit on the exclusive side and the launch lineup. Some more studio acquisition could be in the works on both sides of the console wars. This acquisition has come on as a third act twist in a thriller and has made it interesting for the fight for the 9th generation console. Now I personally think that I would go for the PS5 and a lot of people would go for the PS5 simply because of the fact that they had the PS4 in the last generation. But Microsoft has made a great case for buying an Xbox now. And I think this acquisition and all of the things that they are doing really puts them on the right track to catch up to Sony. And the fact of the matter is that I am considering a PS5, but these consoles are there for like 7 years now. So maybe I buy a PS5 in its first year, but then I pick up a Xbox Series X maybe 2 or 3 years down the line, or a Series S. That would be a great combination and wouldn't cost me that much. Now I had ruled out Xbox out of this console war. I thought that Xbox would lose, but with this acquisition and more games coming and Xbox being on the right track and being the more exciting, actually it's not the more exciting yet. It's not yet more exciting than Sony because they have a great lineup, a great year one of games planned, and I know it'll get better and better. Xbox have certainly stepped up to the challenge of Sony. It's like a night watchman in test cricket or a super over in a T20. Sorry for the cricket references, I have IPL fever. No matter how you look at it, Microsoft acquiring one of the industry's biggest publishers is a seismic event, and the ramifications of this could affect the industry for years to come. Just when we thought that Microsoft were out of it, they pulled back in.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino. Fucking spitting image.
And I think they may have 1 or 2 or more surprises for us down the line. The Generation 9 of the console wars could spell out a comeback for Xbox here. I think that's great for the gaming industry in general. PCs are just getting too expensive, even at the point that they don't really make sense, considering what the next generation consoles are offering you. And you can buy both the consoles and still have some money left over for a TV or a good monitor. So really the consoles are going to be very interesting to see in the next few years, and I know a lot of people would be second guessing their decision to get a PS5. A lot of Xbox One players would be considering to get a PS5, but now they may just look back at the Xbox. Microsoft have given themselves a fighting chance through this acquisition. If you like the video, please hit that subscribe button, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.